Okay, well, we couldn't say no to these things. We have an 81 CB900F. It has a couple tasteful modifications to it. It's been either repainted or it has just been restriped, but it's in really good shape. So, engine doesn't seem to be locked up. The story is that it's stopped running on them or messed up on the previous owner one day, so they actually took the head off of it, tried to replace the head gasket, and they didn't really get it together right, so it's got a couple chip fins, which really sucks. So we're gonna end up pulling the head off of this thing, but it does have a sweet Vance & Hines on it. Front end's pretty good. Corbin seat. You know, it's got a little crack here, but that ain't a big deal. It's all here, which is really cool. And then we got this thing right here. Seth is gonna fall in love with this. He's never ridden an SV650. So this one is a 2001, so it's a first gen.
It's 7 years me.
Carburetor. You're born 2001?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so old.
What month is it?
Well, with the purchase of the 900 and SV, we have more goodies that were included with the bike. So we have another F front fender, which is in fantastic shape, maybe just a little faded. We have what I think is another, yeah, it's another SV airbox. Actually, it's the one off that bike because we removed it. Of course, a seat to the bike. What I'm thinking is a set of like a Harley gauge mount or something for the tank. 530 sprocket, Sunstar, looks new, it's just rusty. We got some jets. 2 sets of brake pads, so that'll cover the front end of that bike, so they are correct for that. That's awesome. A random length of 420 chain. We had a scooter clutch, we have another axle, we have what appears to be a, I think it's for a C. I don't think the Fs had the chrome, did they?
No.
Okay, so got to be a 750 or 900C right side airbox cover. We have 2 rear rotor splash guards. I don't know. I've never seen a metal one like this, so this one's unfamiliar. But anyway, we also have a set of K&N pod filters, which are awesome. Little K&N breather, some crash guards, or engine guards, and then we have a freaking set of calipers and a master cylinder. That's awesome. Of course, we have the front fairing, another set of forks, and another swing arm. So we're doing pretty good with this thing.
Got all the parts.
I'm really tempted. I mean, we got to take this thing, we got to tear it down a little bit. I'm really tempted to take that airbox off, throw those K&Ns back on there, you know, and we'll make this thing run right. All right, now we bought this bike along with that SV650 many months ago, and this thing has been on the back burner because we've had a lot of other projects, okay? So this thing has been sitting. Now, hopefully you guys have enjoyed the SV650 Revival series. That was a fun one. That bike has been sold and is being enjoyed, but now it's time to give some love to this thing. So what we did on this one was a little bit unorthodox. We actually kind of handed the torch off to our student Colton. If you guys are unaware, I started a tech program, and so I'm gonna link that above, that video here, if you guys haven't been caught up. But anyway, what we did is we allowed him to kind of walk us through this project to get it going. And that was a lot of fun. So that's gonna be where we pick up the video now. Colton's here. Hey! And we're working on the CB900F that we're letting him be the boss. He's gonna figure out why it's not running. So he's gonna be leading us through this, and it's gonna be fun. Any ideas?
Right now we're just taking this off to see if it turns over.
Yep.
So that's the plan right now.
Okay. Now with this project, we truly were going in blind. We bought it with ultimately zero information other than it ran in the past and it started smoking and they took the head off of it. So that's all we knew. Don't know if it's locked up or not. So that was the first order of business, was to figure out if it was locked up. Now Colton's first move was to go ahead and pull the side cover off of this thing and then put a wrench on the engine, determine that it was actually unseized. We rotate it by hand over a few revolutions and determine that it's safe to then use the starter. Well, after putting a battery to it, doing a systems check, everything seemed fine, but the starter would not work. All right, Colton, give us a walkthrough of where we're at, what we've done.
All right, well, when we tried to click with the starter, only the solenoid would move. So from there, I figured out the starter just wasn't starting. It wasn't moving at all. So we pulled it and then completely rebuilt everything. It had a broken connection. Fixed everything, cleaned everything, and now it works great. So time for reinstallation.
Yeah. So first we did a systems check, did the electrical throughout the bike. The solenoid works, so you proved and measured that you had power to and from the solenoid. Then you proved that you had power to the actual starter. So you you broke it down and found where the problem was specifically.
Yep.
And so now hopefully we can get this engine rolling over and start making progress. Now with the engine rolling over on the button and feeling safe to proceed further, we need to start diving a little bit deeper. So with this engine rolling over, it was pretty easy to tell that it had sparks, so no problem there, we got lucky. But we then decided to do a compression check, and that's where things got a little interesting. So never mind the other jargon on here, but from left to right, we had 190 PSI, and we're thinking, oh great. Then it was 95, that's not good. And then it was 210, which is extremely high, and then 215, which is higher yet. So to dig a little bit deeper on that one, what we needed to figure out was why it had low compression on cylinder 2 and why it was such high compression on cylinders 1, 3, and 4. So right here, I got the CBX engine. If you haven't seen the videos on this thing, I've got a bunch of them. This thing is almost done, but we can use this for demonstration. So on this engine, it's going to be essentially the same as the 900F. A lot of these parts are actually interchangeable. So what you'll notice here is we have numbered cam caps, okay? And then under each one of these lobes, we have a shim, and everything needs to be set accordingly. Now, what we found when we took the valve cover off of that bike was that the cam caps, they were just all over the place. They were completely mixed up. The arrows that would indicate pointing forward some were pointing backwards. And so they were all screwed up, and that is not good for one of these things because these things are line honed with the cam caps, and they just need to be where they need to be, okay? So of course, with that information, we knew that the actual cams had been out of the bike. And what we found was the actual clearance on the exhaust side for cylinder 2 was way too tight. So it was actually holding the valve open. And that was causing that leak in compression right there. But we also found that the cams were physically out of time. So they were off by a couple teeth. Again, not good. So with that information, what we did is we pulled the camshafts out of this thing, went ahead and checked all of the shims in here, took notes of that, put the cams back in, lined them up correctly. And then we come back here with Colton actually changing out one of the shims to make sure we had it in the correct spot. So all the valve clearances were done at that point. The cams were in the correct position and we had spark. So next we got to make sure we have fuel. Now back to the board. Once everything was set, we did another compression check and we had 150, 125, 145, and 220. So a lot more consistent across the board, which is exactly what you want. Now this is still an engine that hasn't ran in who knows how long. So we actually need to do another compression check, but that was a lot better. And so now we have the engine rolling over. We have decent compression numbers. We have our cam cap situation correct. We have correct cam timing. We have spark, and now we need fuel. So to remove the starter on this thing, we actually had to pull the carbs. So while those were off, I went ahead and pulled the bowls on them, kind of gave them an inspection, and they turned out to be really, really good. It probably would have been perfectly fine to not even touch them. So somebody had stored this thing with no fuel in the bowls. There was really no varnish or anything like that, but went ahead and just pulled the jets, gave them a very quick cleaning and put them back in. And so those were actually surprisingly good to go. So that's where we got lucky. All right, Colton, as we get ready to attempt to start this, how did we get from where we started to right here?
Well, we first made sure it was locked up because that's always a good start. And then from there we checked all the compression of all the cylinders. And then 2 was really low. It was like 95 compared to the others were like 190 to 200. So we checked all the shims and redid some of those to make sure that was all at proper width or proper
Valve clearance?
yeah, valve clearance, thank you. And then from there, rechecked it. Everything seemed solid. And then, yeah, redid carbs as well. It's gonna be a ripper.
It's gonna be a ripper. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, so the F has been gone through. This is gonna be the first start of it. Pretty excited. Seth's like in his zone.
Oh yeah.
Where's my happy place?
Happy place. We don't know if it has a clutch. Hey.
But yeah.
And now we know the condition of it, we can justify putting a little bit more money in it. You know, it doesn't have like a broken rod or something.
Now it's time to pimp it out.
All right, this thing is up and running, and it is a wicked cool CB900F. This thing is, you know, pretty peak 80s if you ask me. So although we do love this bike, its future is kind of up in the air right now. So we have a lot of projects. You guys know that. I talk about it all the time, and this is not one that we can necessarily squeeze in and devote a lot of time to with all of our other responsibilities. So this thing does need a little bit of work though. It does need a rear caliper rebuild and a couple other just little things, a couple little checks here and there, and then it is actually a roadworthy bike. So we'd like to enjoy it a little bit, but beyond that, it will be for sale. Now, it will only be for sale if we decide to not do a full custom build on it, because we do have a friend who is interested in potentially doing that with us, which would be cool. He hasn't given us the official yes or no yet, but if he decides to go for it, you guys will definitely be seeing it. So if we decide to sell it, you'll also be notified. Keep an eye on the website. I actually will have a motorcycles for sale section there, and that'll be pretty cool. But regardless, this was a very cool tool to use for Colton, and it was a good project for him to learn more skills on, learn how to diagnose, that kind of thing. So I would really appreciate it if you guys went and checked out that video on Foundations, which is our tech program. And if you would, please donate. Any little bit helps. I'll have a link in the description for that. But anyway, I hope you guys like this kind of unorthodox Will It Run video. Yeah, hope you guys liked it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.